All of the gods of creation hold a defined place in a vast celestial bureaucracy. Be they great or small, all gods serve a function, from the highest of celestial deities like the Unconquered Sun and the Celestial Maidens, to the least god who guards a single road or a tiny spring. Sometimes, lesser gods are referred to as sprites, though this appellation may be taken as an insult by some gods. All things are watched over by some god or another, from acts of mercy to city roads, from toads to murders, and from disease to true love. A wise man knows which gods govern the areas that interest him, and what to offer them when he seeks to gain their favor or turn aside their anger. Gods are everywhere, naturally immaterial, but they can manifest physically at great cost to their personal essence. There is a clear distinction between celestial and local deities. Celestial deities are gods of universal phenomena such as storms, war, darkness, cities, and lost things, while local deities are gods of singular places or areas. Celestial deities are part of the celestial court and generally have a higher status than gods within a purely local domain, though it is possible, especially in these later degenerate days, for a strong local deity to be more powerful than a minor celestial one. Local gods, also known as terrestrial gods, are not usually permitted to dwell in Yu-shan, the celestial city, though they may visit it on occasion. The greater the deity, the more essence it takes for him to remain fully materialized in creation. As a result, gods favor mansas and domains for their dwellings if they spend much time in material form. A manifest god may be slain, but he will rise again, weakened yet still fundamentally himself. To destroy a god totally requires great power, or the ability to journey to Yu-shan itself and to lay a case before the bureaucracy of heaven. Elementals are different from gods. They are created through the mingling of elemental matter and essence. They are personifications of particular aspects or functions of creation. Storm spirits and wood beings, fire dancers, water hags, and deep hiders of stony secrets. While elementals often serve gods, truly powerful elementals, such as the elemental dragons, can cause even powerful gods to tremble. Elementals lose their memories if they are slain, and they revert to the original matter of the element that formed them. Foremost among the servants of the primordials were the Celestines, or the Celestial Incarnae, the 5 maidens, Luna, and the Unconquered Sun. They are termed celestial because each are associated with a heavenly body, the sun, the moon, or one of the 5 planets. Gaia is sometimes counted among the Incarnae, increasing their number to 8, but she's actually one of the only surviving primordials, rather than a god. The Unconquered Sun was the god who first suggested to overthrow the primordials. None can match him as a strategist and a leader. He is the greatest warrior in all of creation, and is typically depicted as a clean-shaven, handsome, 4-armed male, wearing bronze armor and carrying a lance, a shining shield, a laurel branch, and a horn. Luna is the constant companion to Gaia, and is pictured as male or female with equal frequency. Many-faced, cunning, and probably mad, Luna is a trickster and a shapeshifter without peer. During the war against the primordials, she advised the Unconquered Sun on battle stratagems. Less is known of her than of the other Incarnae, except to savants and to her chosen. Mercury, the Maiden of Journeys, is associated with going and doing, as well as travel and what results from it. She is the goddess of merchants, messengers, wanderers, and explorers. She has the most diverse interests of any of the maidens, but her interests are so diverse that she rarely focuses on one thing for any length of time, and has a reputation for fickleness. Her astrological house is the golden barquet of the heavens, made up of the constellations of the captain, the gull, the mast, the messenger, and the ship's wheel. Her color is yellow gold, and she is often pictured dressed in saffron-colored robes. Venus, the maiden of serenity, is the god of leisure and joy, art, and all things that make life worth living. She oversees the desires that cause life to continue and motivate humans and immortals alike. She is said to be the maiden who cares the most about mortals, though some claim that she is more concerned with her own pleasures. Her astrological house is the Silurian lute of harmony, consisting of the constellations of the Ewer, the Lovers, the Musician, the Peacock, and the Pillar. Her color is sapphire blue, a color often seen in both marriage gowns and the veils of courtesans. Mars, the maiden of battles, is the mistress of war and strife, and though the Unconquered Sun is the greatest warrior among the gods, Mars may be the greater general. Her symbol, a stylized sword and shield, is the universal sign of armory or weaponsmithery. Her astrological house is the crimson panoply of victory, consisting of the constellations of the banner, the gauntlet, the quiver, the shield, and the spear. Her color is crimson, and she is often depicted as an armed woman with short red hair, wearing red lacquered armor. Jupiter, the maiden of secrets, is the eldest and most mysterious of the 5 maidens. She is said to know the allotted span of every mortal thing, of even the gods and creation itself. She is associated with wisdom and learning, but also with spying, stealth, and secrecy. Her astrological house is the forbidding manse of ivy, consisting of the constellations of the guardians, the key, the mask, the sorcerer, and the treasure trove. Her color is green, and she is depicted as handsome rather than beautiful, with a measuring rod in her hand that is used for measuring the length of the threads on the loom of fate. Saturn, the maiden of endings, is the most feared of the 5 maidens. Her task is to cut the threads of the loom of fate at Jupiter's direction, and she is the god of death and undoing. Unlike the Death Lords, though, hers is a merciful and final ending that gives way to new life, not a twilight stagnation. Her astrological house is the violet bier of sorrows, and includes the constellations of the Corpse, the Crow, the Haywain, the Rising Smoke, and the Sword. Her color is deep violet, which is often used in funerary shrouds. Saturn is depicted as a beautiful maiden with white hair and a sad expression, bearing a sword whose touch means death. Gaia is the spirit of the whole of creation, a primordial equal to or even greater than the gods of the various planets. She is sometimes called the Maiden of Plenty, though this is a misnomer. She is venerated abstractly by the Immaculates as the source of all life, and though many offer her prayers of thanksgiving, few ask for her intercession. She is benevolent, and her compassion for life is boundless, but she is as distinct as the Celestial Incarnae. The 5 elemental dragons are sometimes thought of as her offspring, and other times as 5 pieces of her soul. Beneath the Celestial Incarnae, there are many other gods who are charged with watching over creation. All gods have some rank in the celestial bureaucracy, whether or not they choose to observe their duties, and even those who have been degraded for improper conduct are still part of the divine system. The bureaucracy is divided into 5 bureaus, under which all of the functions of creation and heaven fall. 2 criteria determine a deity's position in the hierarchy: power and history. Each god, from lowest to highest, knows his duty and should perform the tasks that are assigned to him. Even those lesser gods that have been created through mortal actions and mortal worship, such as the spirit of a boat, are aware of their relative status and obligations. Gods may be defined in terms of their assigned duties, whether or not they perform them, and their areas of patronage. By nature, the elementals are personifications of particular aspects or functions of creation. The first and greatest elementals were created by the gods from essence-infused elements, under the tutelage of Gaia and after the example of her offspring, the 5 elemental dragons. At the time, there was no need for spirit courts, and everything ran like clockwork for uncounted ages. Lesser elementals came into existence after the war with the primordials, and they were set in order by the gods under the direction of the elemental dragons. All elementals are aspected towards one of the 5 elements: earth, fire, wood, air, or water. They come into existence to fulfill some task associated with their element, such as protecting it, helping it to increase, governing its movements, or otherwise guiding it through a natural cycle. Elementals do not do so out of duty, as do the gods, but their very nature. They range in size from mighty masters of the winds and guardians of entire forests to smaller creatures, such as fire sprites, brine curs, or ice butterflies. Elementals can rise or fall in power. Those who grow to truly great power alter as their forms change to match their nature, and they become dragons. Elementals are static creatures, closely tied to their physical surroundings, such that to modify their behavior would require modifying their own substance. After the usurpation, when the solar Exalted were thrown down, and the great contagion, which slew millions, and the invasions of the fair folk, many elementals died, and the world was so changed that those who remained found it hard to pursue their duties as they had once done. Some formed spirit courts in imitation of the gods, whilst others remained solitary and shunned what contact with gods or mortals they had once had. The terrestrial bureaucracy is inefficient, slack, and overridden by protocol. Apart from those small areas that still function effectively, and the Blessed Isle itself where the Immaculate Order largely keeps the elementals and lesser gods in check, the terrestrial bureaucracy is generally a shambles, invoked only when it is to take advantage of the more significant participants.